Boom, bam. We are in. All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. Happy day of love. Valentine's Day. Whether you're single, whether you have a significant other, whether you're a perpetual cycle of searching for love, I don't care where you are. Wishing you all a happy Valentine's Day. The one thing that we can do, and don't be weird about what I'm about to say, all right, you guys, because we have a guest online. The one thing that we can do today is find a way to love on ourselves. All right. Like I said, don't be weird about that. But what I want you to do is I want you to focus on one thing that you truly love about yourself. Is it your energy? Is it your tenacious spirit? Is it your ability to overcome adversity? Is it your ability to see the greatest in other people? Like, what is it that you truly love about yourself? And give yourself a pat on the back and tell yourself how dope you are. And because when we want to love other people and we want to have a life of love, and I certainly do, that all starts internally. So find a reason to love yourself today. Give yourself some pats on the back, give yourself a hug, take yourself out to dinner, take yourself out to lunch today, but find a way to love yourself today. So you guys, we're going to get right into a couple things, but I do have a question for everybody on the call. I wanted to ask this quick question to everybody because I always get different answers. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you believe to be one of the top love songs of all time? Now, I'm going to start this thing off because every time I hear this song, it just sets me in a mood. So, Distant Lover by Marvin Gaye. And I don't know if you've ever heard the live version of Distant Lover by Marvin Gaye. Do yourself a favor and watch or listen to that live recording of that. Kelly, mute your, I'm not sure what that is. Can you mute yourself really quick, Kelly?
Yeah, very sorry about that.
All right. I think she was playing a track right there. So mine is Distant Lover. Who wants to share what they believe their favorite, best love song of all time? And now I can go on and on. You heard me playing. No, Otis, were you playing that song the other day? Really? Okay, cool. Sweet Caroline, who wants to take themselves off of mute and answer Stevie, Ribbon in the Sky. Okay, cool. Anybody else have any favorite love song of all time?
I'll throw you one because the kids know it, and it was out way before any one of these was born. So, Keisha Cole, Love.
Ah, man, you know how did this resurgence of Keisha Cole song come out? Like my kids, 12, 19 years old, know all the words, doing all the runs. Like that was from back in the day. So shout out to Keisha Cole because she
Never had their heart broken either to be even singing the song the way they singing that shit either.
right in the school, the teachers, like it is on point. All right, guys, who else? Who else has a love song that they want to share that's one of the best of all time? Who's got something for me? Take yourself off of mute. Do not be quiet. We got a guest on the line today, so please do not be quiet. Who's going to hit me with one?
As by Stevie Wonder.
Say again?
As by Stevie Wonder.
Ooh, okay. I'm making my set list just so you guys know. All right, Blessy, let's hear it.
I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston.
Ah, God, I own that album. It's literally right over here. I own that album. It's such a good record. All right, who else? I need two. Give me three more.
Shining Star.
Wait, all right. So let's go first off, Aaron, and then we'll go Jacob. Aaron, go.
Sublime Saw Red. Every day I love her just a little bit more, and she loves me the same.
All right. Well, I'm not taking that as an answer unless you tell me who originally wrote that song.
Oh, that's a good one. Maybe Gwen Stefani. I know it was a duo with the two of them. Who wrote the song?
So that song is an old reggae song by Barrington Levy, and Bradley Noel and Gwen Stefani turned it into a punk ska song. Every day I love it just a little bit more. So they did it up tempo. But if you listen to the original, every day I love it just a little bit more. It's a cool song.
So that's who was that guy?
Barrington Levy, one of the best reggae artists of all time. Now let's get two more, and then we're gonna get right into our session. But I thought that this would be fun. Kaleem, let's go, big dog. What's the favorite? Oh no, I've missed Jacob. Kaleem, then Jacob.
Ed Sheeran, Thinking Out Loud.
Ooh, okay. All right. Hey, when that comes on, you know. Okay. I like that. I love it. So let's put yourself back on mute. Jacob, go.
I say Shining Star by the Manhattans.
Ooh, okay. All right. I'm liking this. All right, cool. Otis, and then we'll go Heidi, and then we'll get right into our sesh.
Come on, y'all. How ain't nobody gonna put no Luther in there? If This World's Mine is the ultimate one, you gotta sing to your lady or a lady you trying to court. Because at the end of the day, that's gonna get it done.
Big Luther or Little Luther?
Come on, man. Big Luther, dog.
All right. And let's go Heidi, and then we'll go Christina. I thought somebody would get involved in this, and I was right. So let's go Heidi. Greatest love song in your opinion of all time. Let's go.
A lot of people on this Zoom aren't old enough to remember this, but Sonny and Cher's "I've Got You, Babe."
You know what? I definitely remember that song. So good stuff. And let's go Christina. Christina, in your opinion, one of the best love songs of all time. Let's go.
How are we not thinking of Usher? Usher. Any song by Usher. I mean, it's a love song. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you know what?
By Usher.
Okay, all right, but I'm gonna go a little bit more old school here as well. This Always and Forever. The moment that song came on when I was a kid, I was like, ooh, this is great. And I'm a huge Motown fan, but I'm also into new age soul, neo soul. So you guys, we can have a whole session on music, but we got other shit to talk about, and it's the market and it's new construction. So we have a very special guest here, and I saw one of her counterparts, leaders of the company, do a presentation at Inman a couple weeks ago, and it was the economic impact of new developments across the nation. Now, obviously, it's great information, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to really dive into that conversation today, unpack some thoughts, some forecasts, and really get specific to our area here in Northern California. So I asked Zonda if they would come on and share some thoughts, share some resources with us. And I'm very excited about this conversation because, by a show of hands, how many people have ever toured new developments? Please raise your hand if you've toured new developments. All right, cool. How many people have ever put somebody in contract in a new dev? Please raise your hand. All right, cool. So huge economic impact, opportunities for our clients, opportunities for them to, do a design build from the ground up. And so I think that this is a really positive conversation. We've never done this before. So Allison, no pressure. Just don't screw this up. This is a very important group. So Allison, welcome to Keep It Moving Group Coaching. We do this 3 times a week. We're all about the collective wisdom. So I'm going to turn the mic over to our very special guest, Allison Paul, coming in all the way from, what city are you in?
I'm in Woodland, California.
Oh, well, you're not even that far from us. All right, cool. All right, so Allison, this is the group. Say hi, and let's just roll. The mic is yours, and if you need screen rights, I will give you the share screen rights. So Allison Paul, our guest from Zonda, let's show her some love, light, and welcome her to Keep It Moving. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that, Elias. This is a very high energy group. I love it. I got to wake up a little bit more right now. I usually start my day a bit later, but this is great to meet you all and see some happy faces. And it really could not be a better time for us to get into the discussion of how do we identify builders and their opportunities across different geographies across the nation. So for those of you who don't know a lot about Zonda, we are the source for new home construction, and we are tracking everything on new home projects, attached or detached, 5 units or more, across the nation. And we've been doing this for about 40 years. So we're actually pretty well versed in our methodology of how we're tracking this information and then, of course, presenting it to the industry. So we do host some great webinars, and I think that's where Elias found our Ali Wolf, who's our chief economist. And we also have Tim Sullivan, who also MCs those webinars, and he is the leader of our advisory group. So these 2 people actually advise the White House on housing policy. That is how up to date they are and how knowledgeable they are about new home construction. And because we have all the data at our fingertips, we not only have that expertise to lend to builders, to developers, to private equity groups, we also give that information to other professions and verticals, including real estate. So now is a great time to get into new home construction because there's amazing opportunity. Resale is still kind of slim, right? There's not a ton of resale inventory out there. New home construction is booming, and it has been booming since COVID. Rates did kind of tamper that a little bit down last year, but we're seeing a big comeback, and we are seeing some seasonality. So what I'm going to show you today is more of a product level approach for tools that you guys can use if you wanted to ever become a Zonda subscriber, and how you can leverage that data so you can identify some of these build opportunities before they even break ground. Yes, we do have that information, so you can see what's coming in that future pipeline. but also who the builders are in these different markets, how are they ranking, and then maybe where some of those broker co-op opportunities are. So you can maybe, you know, introduce yourselves, find a way to get in on that so you can help with the contract sales. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. And it looks like I already have the permission there, so we're good. Does anyone have any questions about Zonda before we dive in? I'm happy to answer questions as we go along. Okay, well, I'll just kind of get right to it. This is our database. We call this Zonda Enterprise, and this is the interface that our subscribers are seeing when they log in and they want to check out new home construction. I'm going to be in the Bay Area right now, but we do have an opportunity to search different levels of geography. You can even go down to the lot level in our system, which is amazing because we have all of the deed records and all the closings, and we scrub those deeds and we match them to subdivisions. So I'm sure it's been kind of a
Quick question. I have a quick question, Allison. Sorry for interrupting. Is this applicable for all states? Because we have people here from, for example, from Arizona. Is this applicable in all states?
Absolutely. So you do have to select a geography before you start diving into the market intel. But as you can see, we cover the entire US when it comes to, yes, all of our market research. So I'm just going to do an example area and we'll stick into the Bay for today. And we can always go into a different market area if we had some questions, but this is just more of a high level overview of how you can use Zonda to your advantage, right? I'm not the market expert. I'm not an advisory, but I can show you how to use this product effectively if this is something you guys want to adopt into your workflow. So I'm going to kind of go from a biz dev perspective. I hope that's okay. I mean, identifying opportunities is kind of why we're here. So step number one, I would like to see what's coming up in that future pipeline, right? So I'm going to expand here and go into what we call the futures. So these are all those tentative maps. All researchers are going to the municipalities and they are pulling all of this tentative map data to see what is coming up and where the builders are putting these maps for approval. So there's different stages here. We have concept, which is very early, right? This might be a little too early, but at least you guys can kind of get an at a glance of where the big stuff is coming up. This is a huge master plan development that's coming up by 5 Point Communities. And if I wanted to take a look, I can just click on this record directly and it's going to send me right to that location. And as it loads up, we can see the different levels of build that we have going on here. So here's that master plan record. This is the shipyard, and you can see totally there's going to be 10,000 units planned in this. We already have some closings nearby. If you wanted to see a closing record to get an idea of some comps, this little unit sold for 1.149 million. So you can definitely click on everything individually, or if you wanted to see that future record, here's where it is. So in this location here, we're going to be seeing a lot more coming online. So 8,000 more units in this parcel here, and this is totally raw land. So we have what's existing. We also have what's new and upcoming, right? If you wanted to get an idea of the builders in the area, here's an active project by Lennar. So you can see their average sales pace, their price ranges of their product, the location, and where it opened. Now, we have even more detail on every one of these new home projects because, you know, as you guys are going out and you're trying to make those relationships with builders, you kind of have to speak their language, right? You have to know about their product. You have to know about their market, and you have to know how you can help them, right? How you can help them sell these homes. So we do track spec inventory, and this is a great way for builders to get their homes sold, because if they have to spec a lot of their inventory, these are these move-in ready homes. So within 90 days, this is ready, right? There's one QMI in this particular project, but you may see others where there's a lot more quick move-in inventory, and that could be great for you guys to identify and then help them get those homes sold. So we're going to show you the pricing. What's also nice is as you're working with buyers, we do have qualifying income, we have taxes and HOA, and we have a lot of characteristics about the project as well. So this is going to be a low rise project. And then we have plan level detail. We could show you how the prices have been fluctuating from when it was first initially listed to where it is now. So there have been some pretty significant price cuts on this project from initially to where it is today. But having this at your fingertips is going to be the best way, not only for you to work with said builder, but also working with the buyers as well. We're tracking contract sales, we're tracking seasonality, and incentives. This is a big deal right now. So there is a broker co-op. This is where you can kind of see, okay, this is going to be that percentage that I can keep my eye on. And then the incentives for the buyers, right? Incentives were kind of the name of the game last year. And we're still seeing a lot of great incentives for buyers to go on the new build side versus going resale. So that's all available with the click of a button for your team for the, I guess, purpose of prospecting. The best way to go about that would be to take this as a direct download. Now you can not only see what's actively selling right now in your market, but also what's upcoming, right? Because we can see the future at Zonda. We have the upcoming projects that you would typically have to web scrape for to see what is being advertised online. We do that for you. We have 500 researchers across the country. So we are going to tell you what's coming up in that pipeline. And that could be a great opportunity for you guys to get a foot in the door, because none of those units have been sold yet of this 900 unit project. So this is a great lead list for you all, not only to see who those builders are, what their sales pace currently is, and then here we go into the quick move-in and the incentives and the broker co-op over here. So these are great detailed columns that you're really not going to find with any other source. We put it all into one place because we have the capacity to do that at Zonda. So you guys can have this for every major metro area. We are a subscription-based service based on geography, and that is exactly how we price things. I do want to give you a couple more resources just to kind of see what's going on in the market at a higher level, right? Because if you do like joining the Zonda webinars, that's more at the national level. If you wanted to drill down locally, let's go into
Actually do Brentwood, because we tour a lot of homes in Brentwood. You
you
just
want to do Brentwood. Okay.
just add it up. It's right there, Brentwood, California. I don't know if that's NorCal or SoCal, Brentwood, but
We
cool.
do have
Perfect.
Brentwood in Contra Costa County. Let me put that into a city boundary here so we can get really specific. And that's what's great about our database is you have complete geographic freedom, right? You don't have to stay in one place and you can research multiple markets at the same time. But if you were talking to a builder who's building in Brentwood, you want to know more about that particular market or even a sub-market within, we can see all the data that's kind of just populating for this area. And it looks like we've got about 19 records of future lots coming into the pipeline. So you guys are going to have some great opportunity in the Brentwood area. And to see who's building here or who has had success building in here, on the right side, we have a nice summary section. So you don't have to hunt and peck and click every little icon. You can get a ranking that's already rolled up for you. So this is where you're going to identify a lot of the builders and not just their names, but their activity, because we are tracking them not just by their sales pace of their new home construction, but by their closings as well. So we're going to rank the builders in Brentwood right now. We do have a couple of publics, right? So it's Shea and Brookfield seem to be the top builders in the area. This is a small market, but at least you know who the key players are. If you were to expand this throughout the entire core Bay Area, you'd probably see 50 or 60 names on this list, right? So we're tracking their closings by quarter. You can see their seasonality. It looks like construction is kind of going down a little bit year over year as far as their closings. But if you wanted to dive in a little bit deeper on the supply of the area, we have a historical home building activity chart. And this is kind of where the builders refer to see where the market is shifting based on trends of last year. So if you want to talk and kind of make relationships with the local builders and developers, you kind of have to think in the way that they're thinking and use a lot of the, different language that they're using. Future lots is what's coming in the pipeline, right? And we can kind of see where the construction is shifting. It looks like things have kind of turned down a little bit since last year in Brentwood. However, we have seen construction kick up 50% year over year. So with those future subdivisions, with the homes currently under construction, there might be some more inventory for you guys to work with within the next coming months. But the trends are kind of pointing downward a little bit on that inventory side. And then again, you can click everything on the lot level to get an idea of comps. If you want to get just some benchmark on pricing, you can see how homes are being priced in this area, right? So you have some more knowledge about comps, new and resale. We have both in our system. You can kind of see how they are moving and shifting next to each other. Housing starts, that's when the foundation is poured, right? This is kind of a big indicator of when you want to get in and start talking to the different builders in the area, because once that home construction is happening, they may want to start looking for a preferred realtor or service to help them sell their homes. So this is a great opportunity for you guys to kind of identify where that is happening. And then, of course, this is showing you the benchmark ranking on pricings by the different product type in the area. So single family, attached, and then where that falls in on the pricing side. So different ways and opportunities for you guys to slice and dice the data. If you want just some general, more high level overview of a market, we have that as well. We have monthly updates on all of our contract sales. So overall, in the entire San Francisco Bay Area, we've seen definitely some peaks and valleys going into the contract sales over the last year, but we definitely had a high point in the summer again, and it looks like we're starting to level off from the end of last year. We can see some different changes in the area. We show you where the big jobs are coming into play, so you can kind of get more of a demographic overview. We do have job growth in here. We have a lot of good information on who the buyers are going to be in segmentations. Median closing prices, new versus existing. So resales definitely higher priced in this market versus the new home construction. Affordability is great. Buyers love to have that affordability. And so showing them where that's going to be with the new homes is going to be really beneficial to you. Again, tracking the market by household growth and seeing where the supply is coming in is going to give you another leg up in your competition by trying to make those relationships with the builders. So a lot of different tools here for you to kind of see what's going on. And if you're all driving and you're making your way into different markets to kind of see what's going on, or maybe you're driving some of the different developments that are coming up, we have a tool that will allow you to do this from the comfort of your home. Show of hands, how many guys are using Google Earth on a regular basis? We all love Google Earth, right? It's free, but it is 2 to 10 years outdated on its imagery. So you might see something and then you drive past it because you know Lennar has a big project there, but it's not showing anything. So Zonda has a tool called Zonda Satellite. It is built in with our subscription. And what you can do is use this little circle viewer here anywhere in the world. This is a global tool. This is not restrictive to market area. And this is a portion of Reno here. And I noticed that there were some homes that were already constructed. It looks like there's a foundation here up on the north side. We've got some framing going on, but I know that because this is Google Earth, it's probably not giving me the entire story. So when I utilize this tool here on the side, it gives me an image that was taken very recently, about a month and a half ago. And now I can see there's some completed construction on the right here. There's a new foundation and there's some framing completed. Whereas this is what it's going to look like if you were just Googling. So this is also going to give you guys a better advantage, sort of an eye in the sky. And we send you alerts when there's a new image, a new flyover. So now you can really keep track of how the construction is pacing out in different markets. Wow. So yeah, it all comes together in one place. This is what we offer. So, I mean, that is kind of more or less the conclusion of my presentation. We are here to help you guys understand the market inside and out. We also have wonderful relationships with the builders because the top 100 builders in the nation are using Zonda and subscribing to us. So we have a lot of great relationships there that we can kind of use at connections at our events or looking through the data. Either way, we're the best resource to find out where the new home side is flourishing. So thank you so much, Elias, for giving me the time and the floor to show you how you can use that to your advantage. And I'm here as a resource. If you guys
So
have any
Allison, a couple questions. First off, I mean, just give me an emoji on the screen if, you know, besides price, obviously we have to talk about that, but like how many people think that this would be an effective tool working with your buyers? Please raise your hand if you think that this would be an effective tool. Like hands down, they're like, that's like unquestionable. So Allison, 2 questions, and I don't want to get far into like a sales pitch, you know, because I want to make this a coaching session. But is there an enterprise account first off, and then what's the average cost for an agent?
Yeah, so we actually don't have a price built in for agencies specifically. We do have, everything is kind of based on company, right? So you would let me know where would the subscription be housed. And then of course the pricing is by market area. So what might help me is like offline, if you send me a list of markets that you're active in, and then we can kind of price that accordingly.
I'll do that. But I'm obviously we're going to go into this in a minute and have a conversation about the market. But Allison, this was incredible. Do you have a quick minute for a couple Q&A?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do this, you guys. While we have Allison here, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want to pick her brain about anything? Comments, feedback, Q&A session? Anybody? Let's go and use the emoji for your raised hand so I don't miss everybody. I might not see your hand actually physically raised. So let's go, Kelly.
Hi. I have a question about the new builds that are potentially coming around Travis Air Force Base, the new city that they're building, possibly. Do you get information on Zonda about that kind of stuff when we know if it's coming?
Yes, absolutely. So if the project is going to be 5 units or more, that's kind of our threshold of when we start tracking. We will have that information in our system when we see that tentative map being submitted. So once that goes through the municipality and we have that refreshed every 90 days, you will see that on our quarterly subdivision research. Absolutely.
That's a really good question. I'm not too sure if the city has approved it yet. I know that it's still in Ophelia. Maybe you could speak more to that, but that utopian city that is proposed for that part of Fairfield, that's still under negotiations and it's still under approval from the actual city. And so we'll see what happens. I'm actually rooting for it. I'm all for it. But the people that live there don't want to turn that farm area into, actual homes and new development. So good stuff, Kelly. Let's go. Blessing. Let's get time for one more question. Let's go Blessing, and then one more after Blessing. Let's go.
Wonderful. Allison, thank you so much for that information. When you were showing the housing supply and details, is there information on like the economic impact? The last time we had a coaching call on new builds, we talked about what improvements or accommodation the cities and towns would be making once builds are happening. Is that information we'd be able to get from Zonda as well?
We wouldn't have that directly through the database. That's more from our advisory team. They look more impact. They look at, all the different fees associated, everything on that side of the construction. And it's definitely on a case-by-case basis. So I think the best way to get that information might be some of the city news or maybe some newsletters, local BIA, where they're really tracking like the policy side or just the data side on what's happening with construction.
Allison, really quick question on that. So are you guys able to look back at like population of a certain area? Say, for example, they released 1,800 units, 4 years ago, and X amount of new people moved into this area. So population obviously increased, and then new roads, schools, and things like that. Is that something that we can see through Zonda? Like,
yes and no. So we can definitely give you the updates on population trends. We do have a lot of great demographic resources. They're not proprietary to us. We utilize Newstar for our demographics, and we're going to be changing that source soon. So we utilize that population growth. We utilize the census information as well to see like building permits, to kind of see how all these different factors are coming together in a market. But as far as the roads, anything on the heavy construction side or even commercial side is not covered with Zonda. However, we do have school scores that come and feed through our system through greatschools.org. So when you are pulling a report on a new build or a new project, you can kind of see what the nearby school district is going to be based on that geography and what those ratings are. So that's going to come in handy when you're talking with family buyers, right, who have kids. They're always going to want to look to see what those schools are rated locally. So we do identify a nearby school. If there's a master plan, there's generally a school that's built into that, but we wouldn't have the specifics on that new school that has not broken ground yet.
okay, good stuff. And then last question, Aaron Crisp, you had a question. Let's go.
Do you offer any information about the marketing companies like Rhiness Group or Polaris Pacific, where we can kind of find out what communities they got coming up next and just get more details on that? So if we directly approach them to kind of get a broader range of what markets they're in and what homes or communities are selling, do you have any information on that on Zonda?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we don't work directly with Rhiness or Polaris Pacific, but we do have a lot of similar information, right? Rhiness, to my knowledge, is the traffic, and we do have traffic and sales in a different portal that we will be migrating into this one. And Rhiness is specific to California, if I remember correctly, whereas we're going to have that all over the country. So we have a lot more footprint on that information. And I'm not entirely sure what Polaris does. I don't know if they do contract sales. I think they might do it more on like an attached product level, and we have both attached and detached in our system.
Yeah,
So
Polaris does like sales for a lot of the San Francisco condos, and they mainly are they're in Seattle and up and down the Pacific coast, and so they mainly specialize in those. It's sometimes good to find out what communities that they're actually selling for.
absolutely. And so we track everything on the for sale side. So as long as it's for sale and it's an attached product, even if it's a mid-rise, a condo, a townhome, we're still going to have that in our system. So you'll get that from us too.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Allison, I want to thank you. If you have to run, run, do your thing. Would love to grab some lunch with you sometime when I'm up in the Sacramento area and just break bread and talk more about this. But if you can, I'll send you some cities. Let's get some pricing. And obviously, you guys, we're going to see if this works for everyone. But obviously, are the webinars something that our team can access? Is there a cost for the webinars? Can you tell us a little bit about the webinars that are offered?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now the webinars, at least the ones that are on the National Housing Outlook and the National Housing Update, those are completely accessible. I do believe that there may be some cost associated with that in the future. We also have a special report that we are rolling out at the end of this month. It's going to be the National Outlook Report. So if having a national level assessment of housing, just to kind of see how everything's shifting economically in the nation is important to you guys, we do have a special report that details a lot of that information directly from Allie Wolf and Tim Sullivan. So we can definitely kind of talk about that and maybe inclusion of that within a subscription if that's something we want to, talk about further. It is a brand new report. We're really excited about it, and it's all nice and prepackaged, so you have the analysis ready for you. So a lot of great resources coming to market from Zonda.
And Allison, if they wanted to find out more information about Zonda and see when the live webinars are, where would they find that information?
Yes, great question. Make sure to visit our website. It's zondahome.com. We do have an events section, and you can see the webinars that are coming up as well as in-person events. We have some really, really well-attended events across the nation. Some of them are in California. We have a lot going on in Texas, Florida. We have a master plan event that usually occurs in October, where you can get an up-to-date outlook on where all these big master plan communities are coming and the land perspective. So you can meet with all the developers and network with them directly. These are all ticketed, of course. The pricing is online, but I highly encourage you to browse and just kind of see what's out there and what we have to offer, because there really is something for everyone in the industry.
God, I love it. So you guys, let's give her love, light, flowers while she is still here. Allison, thank you. We're going to dissect some of this information and get right into the second part of our conversation. So I really appreciated this. My light bulbs are on. And so thank you, Allison, for being here. Appreciate all the information, and let's kind of unpack this conversation. So thank you, Allison. You don't have to stay unless you want to. So
thank you so much. I do have to bounce. It's so nice to meet you all. Have a wonderful rest of the meeting, and I look forward to staying in touch. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye.
All right, so let's have this conversation. So how many people at least learn one new thing about new development from just this short little time with Allison, right? One new thing. So I want you guys to think about this in the context of understanding new development. It's not only going to help you with obviously working with people that are in that market, but the resale. Because, for example, in that area of Brentwood, she said that in that construction was up 50% year over year. So what does that actually mean for people that are considering moving to that area, are thinking about waiting, are thinking about, oh my God, is this a good investment for me? Being able to share data such as, you know what, I understand your concerns, Mr. Johnson, but let me share some things that are actually happening right now. And I'm going to give you some oversight of what's actually happening in the market right now. New construction is up 50% year over year. There's 1,800 units that are already underground right now here, or under construction right now. Here's the layout of the land that they've already started to do the projects on. So based on what you see here, does the future look good for this part of Brentwood, or do you see Brentwood going down? Well, obviously it's looking good, right? There's so many different advantages. And so I want to hear from you guys. Was there any takeaways, any ahas, any moments that you guys felt like, wow, this is really, really cool stuff, I can incorporate that, or anything that you wanted to talk about based on what you just heard? Go ahead and take yourself off of mute or raise your hand. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts, insight, and dialogue on this conversation thus far. Because I saw, okay, Ophelia, let's go to you. I saw Ashley's face light up. Let's go, Ophelia.
Okay. I really loved Kelly's question. And yes, the California Forever is still in the middle of some stuff. It's very heated out here in Solano County. It's really heated. But that was really good question, because that's very informative. And I couldn't really understand a lot because I was driving. But one thing that really caught my eye was her up-to-date global satellite. I think that you don't have to only use it for new builds. And that can go a long way in any presentation I have with a buyer's consult. I can like switch screens and be like, okay, you're looking at this area, let's go live, right? I have the confidence now that I can use that product and have real-time data as opposed to Google Earth. Because yeah, I've had some Google Earth experiences where I'm like, ooh, that was, oh shit, you know, like, whoops.
Sure. For sure. Yeah, I absolutely love that, to be able to say, okay, this is what's happening right now. Look at all the foundations, look at all of the frames. Look at what the projections are over the next 24 months and how that's going to impact that city. That's powerful. That's really powerful information. Aaron, Chris, what's your thoughts, contributions, or dialogue for the conversation?
This was a great call today, because I was, before the call, looking for new homes for a client that I was talking to, and she was looking outside of her area in Santa Rosa to different areas, Woodland, you know, just all over Sacramento. And part of it was, oh, what are the schools like? What are this? And I was in New Home Source, and then I had to go to grade schools, and I had to do all this stuff. And when she did that presentation, not only was that all kind of combined together, but then also the information about the year-over-year sales and the building and all that stuff was like just more value I can give to a client, opposed to kind of just looking at new home sales and seeing the price range in between and not really having a lot of information outside of that. And then again, having to go to grade schools, and just I had to go to 3 different things just to kind of do this research, where it's all kind of crammed in one on Zonda. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And you guys, whether or not, you know, us get an account with Zonda, you guys can attend these webinars. You guys can go, you guys can learn, you can gather the information and gather enough information to be dangerous. Now, the ideal hope is for that we use this tool in order for us to get better and to grow. But at the end of the day, if we don't, there's still some huge opportunities for us to learn, because I found out about this company because I sat in a presentation in New York and learned about it. And so there's so many opportunities, but I think at the end of the day, this is something we all need to be putting into our flow, right? If you see construction happening, if you see, you know, building happening, it's your responsibility. Go out there, pull up, talk to them, you know, and ask questions about, you know, what's happening, how long is the project, how many units are they building, who's the people to talk to, can I set up a time to speak with you guys? Like that's prospecting, right? And so I want to encourage you guys to hit the pavement when you're out there, stop your car, go out and talk to those people. Ashley, thoughts, takeaways? I saw you saying, oh my God, I saw some comments in the chat. Thoughts, takeaways, and insight from that sesh.
Yeah, this just blew my mind. There's so many times where people are asking, oh, are they going to build homes here? Are they going to build homes there? I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do. But this will let you know like what's coming. And then we can be the first people to approach these builders and say, hey, you guys offering commissions? I have clients that are ready. And we can be like the resident experts of what is happening in our areas, which I didn't have a tool that could do that before. So I really like that.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really powerful. Let me show you guys a couple things really quick. And we've done this before, but I want to just make sure that you guys know where to get some really good information. So if you go to zondahomes.com, what you'll find is right here is I did top reads and I did a new home market update. And this was posted January 23rd of 2024. You'll find tons of information about what's happening, where the builders are going, what percentages are up, and what communities, what cities, what states, so on and so forth. So even if we, you know, do you want somewhere just to start? This is a really, really good place to start to get some of the free information first. And then obviously as hopefully we can, you know, sign a contract with them. But even if it doesn't happen, there's tons and tons and tons of information here. You can go back and you look at some of the historical data, some of the you know, reports that they're publishing that are on their site. You guys, this is a way just to up your knowledge when you're having communication with a buyer about moving into an area. A buyer always wants to know this: is this going to be a good investment for me and my family? Right? Despite what happens, we can say, oh yeah, if you purchase, you know, real estate in the Bay Area, it's going to appreciate. But like, can we give them some raw examples? Can we share with them what the outlook is, what the forecast is, and what's going to happen in the coming years? And that's our responsibility. So, even living in Brentwood, I don't know. There's a new development. Okay, cool. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So let's do this. A lot of you are out showing homes, writing offers, getting into contract. I want to know from you guys, what are some things that you're experiencing? What are you seeing? What are some patterns? What are some things that are working for you guys right now? And what are you seeing in your markets? Competitive offers are back. Non-contingent offers are back. Multiple offers are back. So I want to hear from you guys what's working and how you're winning. So let's go to Damian, and I want a couple other people to get involved in this conversation because this is how we learn together about the best strategy. So let's go Damian, and then we'll go Ash.
Good morning. Good morning. To me, it seems like transparency is fleeting. It seems like the introductory teaser prices, however you want to phrase it, it seems like those are going away. And so having to do a little more due diligence and discovery to figure out what seller expectations are, that's becoming more important again, because like you said, it's getting more competitive, multiple offers out there, and those homes that are sitting on the market at a transparent price are becoming lesser.
And so, Damian, was there anything that you did? I know that you have 3 in contract right now. Is there anything in particular with your strategy that stands out in your terms or how you wrote the offer? Was there anything that stood out or something that you did different that you want to share?
Yeah, all 3 of them have in common that we removed inspection contingencies. So we didn't go in with inspections on any of them. On 2 of those offers, they were cash offers, so we didn't have any contingencies at all. And not to suggest that that's necessary on everything at this point, but it is definitely helpful. But the most helpful thing, like I've said on multiple calls, is just talking to the other side, talking to the listing agent, and again, trying to figure out what his client wants, and also trying to read between the lines, because sellers agents are trying to do the best thing for their sellers and get the most money out of the deal. But if I can hear any type of Freudian slip or just any clue that tells me I can save my clients $10,000, $20,000, then I'm taking that edge and going for it. Some people might want to avoid that so they don't get into a counter situation, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm trying to save my clients money at the end of the day. So
That's right. And obviously, you guys, when we remove an inspection contingency, Damian's not going to feel comfortable with even going that route unless he's done his homework. He's reviewed the disclosures. He's reviewed the reports. There's no giant red flags. They didn't call out the foundation. Or the client says, I don't care what's wrong with the property, Damian, we'll pay for it. We just want to live in this community. It's okay. So they're either okay with no matter what it is that they have to fix, or Damian has done such extensive research, which I know he has, that says, there's no red flags. In order for us to be competitive and get our offer accepted, I can see us, comfortably removing this, but it's completely up to you, Mr. Client. So good job. I love that strategy, Damian. Let's go to Ashley. What are some strategies? What are you seeing in the market? And you guys, let's get a couple more people involved in this conversation. I know you guys are busy. I know you're showing homes. I want to hear from you guys. Get involved in this conversation. Let's go, Ashley.
Hey, okay, so I'm so interested in this conversation because I've seen things all over the map. 3 weeks ago in Oakley, there was a house that was listed for $650. They went back and forth 4 times, got into contract $635 with $25,000 in credits. It was an investor. Appraisal came back at $605. Like way below, and then they negotiated to $605 with $5,000 in credits. So that was 3 weeks ago. They closed just like 2 or 3 days ago. 2 days ago, we had $550 was the purchase price or the listing price. They went in $575, $140,000 down, no contingencies, and lost. So You really, I like what Damien said about reading in between the lines, because you really have to know the psychology of the listing agent and find out, like, are they playing you? Are they not playing you? Do they have other offers? And I think that just comes with practice and then looking at the comps, but it really is all over the map. But right now, what I'm definitely seeing is that it's getting much more competitive, and shorter contingency windows that you can do, or if your client's willing to go non-contingent, I think as the market heats up, that's what's going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you guys, and while we're talking about this, because it's going to happen over and over and over again, let me ask the question. In what scenario would you feel 100% comfortable removing all contingencies? In what scenario? And somebody get on the mic and answer this question, or multiple people answer that question. In what scenario would you feel absolutely comfortable removing all contingencies? Let's go Blessing, let's go Otis. And you guys, once again, don't be a stranger to getting on this conversation and getting in the conversation. Excuse me. Let's go, Blessing.
I would only advise a client to remove all contingencies if they are an experienced investor. This is not their first time and they are paying cash. And I've seen it in the account. At that point, they're not really worried about the inspection because they're going to do a rehab anyway. There's no appraisal, there's no loan. Like for me, that's the only time that I can say green light, let's do it, no questions asked.
All right, so let me give you a different scenario then. This is a family looking for a home. They find their dream home. They absolutely love it. You talk to the listing agent. They have 5 offers in hand. 2 of those offers are non-contingent. They give you a range of where those offers are at. What do you do?
The way that my gut just did a flip, I would have to study the comps to make sure that I'm advising them on price, and whatever reports are there, that we've gone through them with a fine-tooth comb and that we know for certain that there's no issues. I've already gotten with the lender to understand, how quickly can they close, and is this buyer, are they secure in their job? Are they really going to be able to close at this price? And then it's a matter of all of the research. And I'm also one where I'm going to tag in another agent. Hey, just give me a second set of eyes on this as far as the comps, and then evaluate like the price that we're coming in at, and say, like, if this was your client, what would you do in this circumstance, just to be sure, because those contingencies are the protection. So I would do so much more work than I ever have.
So you hit it right on, right? We're never going to make a suggestion for a client to remove all contingencies unless we're in a super competitive environment and there's an opportunity for us to win. But only first are we going to review all of the material facts, all the reports, all the disclosures. We want to make sure that there's no red ticket flags or large ticket items and red flags on the inspection contingency. On the appraisal, and I think that's obviously one of the most important, you have to make sure that the data matches. You have to make sure that there's sales that have matched up to that amount, if not more. And it's our responsibility to call those agents that are in contract on those homes and see if you can't get a number from them. Now, sometimes if they're still in their contingency window, they're not going to release that information to you. So you have to dig and you have to ask, like, listen, I'm writing an offer down the street. I just want to see what you're in contract at. Can you give me a range? Give me a number. And then when you talk to your lender, if their debt to income ratio is super, super low, I think that it would make sense removing that loan contingency, and if they're completely underwritten. But if they have a really, really high debt to income ratio and they aren't underwritten, it's going to be a really, really tough ask of your client to remove all contingencies. Otis, let's get involved in the conversation and we'll start coming full circle.
That was good that you just touched on, Elias. I was going to say that same thing. Like, you have to do your homework. I think I probably wrote one, and when I wrote that shit, my stomach was in knots, because my whole saying to anybody would be like, hey, Elias, I want to make sure that you trust me. I want to make sure that we are going to trust each other. And that builds rapport, but it also builds information and facts. I have to come to facts with you to make sure you understand each step of the way. That's why it's really, really imperative that you do that when you're in your buyer's consultation, so they already kind of know those kind of things could happen. But when you're in that motion, you need to make sure that you're also calling the pest inspector, the home inspector, and going over those things and being like, hey, I have a client that really loves this house. Could you go over with us, exactly what red ticket items need to be, how far you think they're off, like how long could they go? Are they in that window where they can refi and they can take some money out the house to get these things done? Those are some things that you want to look into as well as calling the lender and making sure that the DTI and everything is out there. But when you're in a competitive market, that's just something that you're going to have to talk to them. And that should be the very, very first thing you say to them when you're in this market, because I have these buyers right now, and it's kind of like I could be like, oh, whatever. I'm basically going to probably make $1,000 off of this deal because they come on with a Chevron relocation and it's tapped on Zillow, so it's like a 86% referral fee. But I'm still working this thing as if I was going to get $10,000 or more, because I will never feel comfortable selling somebody a house if there's something wrong with it and it was my fault that I didn't do my due diligence on it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with this 100%. And here's the thing: each of us need to have a relationship with the contractor as well. If you can look at Section 1, if you can look at the general home inspection for all of the action items as well as consideration items, and then also the life expectancy of the roof. If you know that the roof needs to be replaced within the next 7 years, it's probably important for you to share that information with them. What I would do for every single buddy on this call, every single person on this call, every single time you're working with a buyer, I would do a summary review of all of the reports. Now, obviously, you're going to provide them with all the reports for them to review on their own. You want to make sure that they see them, but they don't exactly know exactly what's in that report. So what you can do is you can do a quick summary. And what I want you guys to see here is that this section is really important. The Section 1, you've already obviously educated the consumer what Section 1 is, $8,500. Now you want to go into what that is. The sewer lateral repair on this particular home was $17,200. Roof repair estimate $3,974, and the foundation report came out to $7,900. Now, if this was a first-time home buyer, I would probably recommend them to probably move forward or not move forward on this home. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I just wouldn't feel comfortable removing this if they didn't have the money to cover these things. So it is our responsibility to know in a competitive market, oh, yeah, let's just fucking remove our continue. No. It's our job to educate our consumers. And so when we're reviewing all of our reports, all of the data, and then the loan information, we need to make sure to organize that information and share that with them and do a summary. A summary is a great way for you to show that you're going to go above and beyond for your consumers and make sure that they have all the material facts and they understand the material facts. So I highly recommend, as you're working with buyers, especially as we're getting into these competitive markets, do a summary. Is it cumbersome? Absolutely. Does it take a lot of time? Absolutely. But hey, that's our responsibility. Blessing, last question from you, and then we'll wrap.
I just wanted to add that as much due diligence as we do and what we share with them, at the end of the day, it's the client's decision of what they want to do. But we have to protect ourselves and just state it over and over again, say, here's what my professional recommendation is. I have one transaction that to this day still haunts me because I told them they didn't need to go that high. And they're like, no, we absolutely want the house. It was 2021. They felt like they needed to go X amount of dollars over. And of course, we won the contract, we won the offer, and we closed. But as if like I knew a year later they needed to sell, and what they would have gotten for the house was nowhere near what they needed, and they were under. And if they had listened to me and my number, there would have been a little bit of cushion. But again, we give our professional advice, we tell them what the market is showing. But if that client says remove everything and go 100 over, I just saw in the comments, if you can get it in writing for yourself just as that protection, do that. But at the end of the day, we have to advise our clients and honestly do what they want to win.
100%. And at the end of the day, Erica, if you have a conversation with the consumer, say they're texting you, say they have a conversation with you over the phone, wonderful. I'm going to recap that in an email. Hey, Otis, just want to make sure I recap on our conversation earlier. We're going to move forward on 123 Main Street. These are the things that you told me. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Cool. That's documented. That's in an email. Should anything ever come up in the future, you have a whole chain of communication, and that's the best way to keep our asses out of trouble. Now, I'm not saying that we're going out and writing competitive offers. What I want you to understand is the market that we're in right now. It's going to be different in the coming months. It's going to change in the coming months, and it's going to get a lot more competitive. So we are going to write the offer that is comfortable for the consumer, but here's what will happen. A consumer will write an offer, and they'll get beat, they'll get beat, they'll get beat, and they'll start to see how they're getting beat and why they're getting beat. non-contingent offers, right? Over asking price, 20% over, 10%, 7%. They'll start to see that. And sometimes a consumer just needs to experience it for themselves, the loss, in order for them to say, you know what, it's time for us to change the strategy. So I want you to be aware of that because the market is changing and you're going to start to see more and more of that. And sometimes the consumer needs to take a couple L's for them to realize that we might need to readjust and change our course. So you guys, that's all I have for you today. I really, really appreciate all of your contributions today. Thank you for coming. I love Wednesday's conversations because it's always high level conversations about the market. Let's get one key takeaway from Erica Liu. Erica Liu, key takeaways from our time together today. Let's go to you.
All right. I got a better understanding of what a contingency is. So that kind of refreshed my brain from when I took the exam like a few months ago. But I'm really excited to see the market change and I'm ready to step into this market and get shit going. And I'm so excited to start.
I love it. I love it. And I appreciate you being in the office. Last thing, you guys, I'm going to share this, this site with you in the chat. Go ahead and grab that. Boom. All right, greatschools.org. That way, if you have a consumer that's asking about school ratings, so on and so forth in a particular community that you're representing them, here's a great resource for you. So grab that. That way you have that. Listen, you guys, I'm here for constant support. Let's go out there. Let's take some action. Let's move our needle. Let's have some fun. Let's go out there and be the experts of this real estate industry because that is what is required of you. We're not hobbyists. We're not generalists. And this team is a team of champions. We are not, our team is not a hobby. And I just want to be very clear with everybody on this call. Our team is not a hobby. We play like champions, so show up like champions and go out there and move your business forward today. Have a wonderful day. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. Peace.